Hello, hello, hello. Today I'd like you to take a venture with me. Take an adventure to go to the country road to look at the trees. It's a beautiful time of the year. The leaves are changing, and it's a fun activity. Some families just get in the car, drive up to the mountains, drive to the countryside, and check out the beautiful, spectacular, colorful views of fall. It's that time again. It's time to make art with Mrs. M. I hope you're ready and have supplies in hand, and you are ready to embark on this adventure with me. There's so many times I have tried to draw this scene where the road vanishes off into the distance. We like to call this part the vanishing point. Let's take a look. So this road is really wide, really close to us in the foreground, and as we go back to the middle ground, it gets smaller, and as we all go all the way back to the background, it tends to just vanish right here on the horizon line. Now, the horizon line is where the sky seems to touch the ground, and pretty much there's our vanishing point right there. Look, the road just disappears. The trees, you don't see any more trees, you don't see any more utility poles here. It's just poof, gone. But we know that the road does continue. It just gives that appearance, it gives that illusion. So I drew this and I haven't had the chance to color it. I will someday. I'll get to it someday. But I'm going to draw with you today the fall trees that I just showed you. Yes, these fall trees. Yes, it is a wonderful time of year, and I'm ready to draw a scene that depicts what we're seeing out our window, and maybe not, maybe on a quick drive to the countryside. So, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose a few markers. I think I'm going to use markers for this. I'm going to get brown and green because I am doing trees. But wait, it's fall. I need orange for the trees. Okay, so there I go. This is what I'll start with. I might need to grab some more in a minute, but for now, this is what we have. Okay. I'm going to start by drawing my horizon. My horizon line is where the sky appears to touch the ground, and we'll try to make a straight line, as straight as I can, but I know it's not going to be perfectly straight. And when you're dealing with nature, there aren't super straight lines that often occurring naturally in nature. Okay, the next thing I need to add is the road. So I guess I need a black marker for that. My vanishing point will be right about here. Ding! So I've added my vanishing point, and now I need to make the road. Now remember, the road, when it's closest to us, is bigger. So let's see. I'm going to do the road. And on this side, I'm going to start out with it skinny, and I'm going to make it wider and wider and wider. There's the road. The next thing I'm going to do is start with my very first tree. It's going to be the biggest tree on this side. I actually had trees on both sides of the road, so I'm going to do 2 trees. When I do the branches, I tend to use the letter Y. I don't know why. Yes, I do. The letter Y seems to make the branches look more like branches. So I'm going to put some tree trunks down here. And then I'm going to come up and make branches that almost look like the letter Y. Like so. And when I do that, for me, that it gives the look of branches a lot better. So there's a big branch, and I'm going to give the Y effect and add some little Y's with it. There. Let me do the same thing on this side. So I always make the bottom of the tree trunk wider because the roots need to spread out and go deep into the ground to hold this big, strong tree up. This wood can be heavy, it needs strong roots. Okay. So I have lots of roots going down, and I'm going to start with Y, something that looks like Y, and then add some little Y's to the sides. There. See how that makes it look just more tree-ish? Okay, now this is the fun part for me because when you, oh, no, 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 it's fall. It's going to be fall. When you add the tops of the trees, you know, they're just full of leaves. Okay, so now that I've done one, I'm going to continue making the tops of the trees all the way back to the vanishing point, all the way back to the vanishing point. They're going to get smaller and smaller as we go back. So this tree is overlapping the next tree, so I add that one, and this one is a little smaller than the first one. And make each one a little smaller than the first. And make them smaller and smaller. You see how it's creating that illusion that we're going back into space? Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm going to do it over on this side of the road as well. And I'm going to have a few trees falling in line behind this guy. There. Going off into the distance. Now that I've done the tops of the trees, I don't have to worry about the bottoms over here because the way that this is angled, you can't see their tree trunks. But over here you can. So I'm going to add tree trunks. And it's going to be sort of behind this tree, so maybe you can only see one branch. Okay, only one of the big branches. Okay, I'll do this tree, and I'm going to have to make it a little bit smaller. And make sure that you still have your trees going straight up and down. Sometimes what happens when we're doing this is our brain gets a little confused and the tree trunks go sideways, but the trees are down in the ground this way, down in the ground this way, and they are not just leaning on the side of the road. So you're going to make them straight up and down, tree trunk straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down. Oh, that's almost impossible to do those little tiny ones back there. Ah. Okay, so add a few branches on these that are the larger ones because I can still see how to get those branches in there. The ones that are far away, you just can't worry about the details because, like, even with your natural eye, you wouldn't be able to see all the details. So, in your drawing, you shouldn't try to stress out about those details. Wow, great, right? Oh, excited. I'm excited. I'm excited. Okay, I'm grabbing purple because I just love making purple mountains in the background. And backgrounds, mountains are not pointy, they're old and rounded. They have been weathered by rain. And so I just make an irregular bumpy line in the background for those mountains. And then there you go. You have a fun time. You're going to have a fun time coloring this. I know when I color my trees, I try to find like a bunch of warm colors. Like I found orange and yellow orange and scarlet and yellow. And so when I color these trees, I add a little bit in there because I've never seen a tree that just has exactly just one color on it. When I look at a tree, I see lots of different similar colors. Yes, I do. And so when the foliage, which is the leaves, the foliage on the trees has changed and is very bright like that, you can still see a little yellow. You can still see a little yellow orange. And so when I colored this one, I made sure I added that. It looks almost like fire. It looks like these trees are on fire, doesn't it? I love that. I love that. And then for my mountains, I added purple and a little brown and a little green. And I left the tops white because maybe there's snow off in the distance. Up high on those mountains, there tends to be snow sometimes. Yes. I'm excited about doing this. I'm excited about fall. I love the change of seasons. I love how this season really tries to show off with all its beautiful colors. I hope you enjoy this. Notice I did a sunset as well because most times we draw the sky that's blue and it's just always daytime. I'd like to show nighttime sometimes in my drawings and sometimes the evening as the sunset. So I hope you enjoyed that. Maybe you'll try other ways of showing a landscape with things off in the distance and what's this called? The vanishing point. So I hope you'll add vanishing point to your vocabulary. Use that word. It's a vanishing point. It's so fun to draw these. I had fun showing this to you. And remember, when you make art with Mrs. M, I always say this when we go, art makes you smart. It does. And I really believe that. I believe that the more that you draw, the more things you remember, you'll remember things that you've drawn. And it helps your brain grow and it helps the muscles in your hand grow. And this is Mrs. M signing off for now. See you soon.